Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. And today we're going to look at how Lucifer fell from heaven and became Satan, the untold biblical story of the fall of Lucifer. Lucifer is the name given to Satan before he rebelled against God and was cast out of heaven. But how did he fall from such great heights and become the incarnation of evil? To understand this story, we must first explore the origins of Lucifer himself. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verses 12 to 17, we read a passage that tells of the fall of a great king who ruled over a distant land. This passage describes a king who was once exalted and glorified, but who then fell into sin and became like a demon. In fact, the Hebrew text actually uses the word Lucifer when referring to this fallen king, which means light bearer. So what exactly went so wrong in this king's life that caused him to fall from grace? As many of you probably already know, this passage in Isaiah is often used by Christians to refer to the fall of Satan. They believe that Satan, also known as the devil, was once a holy angel named Lucifer who lived in heaven and worshiped God. However, this interpretation is not explicitly stated in the Bible. It's simply a belief held by many Christians. But let's assume for a moment that it is true. If Satan was once an angel named Lucifer, then why did he fall from heaven? To answer this question, we need to go back to the beginning. According to Christian theology, Satan or Lucifer was created by God as one of the first angels, if not the first angel. He was perfect in every way and had the ability to love and worship God more than any other creature. Because of his position, power, and beauty, Lucifer came to believe that he was better than all the other angels and even God himself. He wanted to be worshipped and feared just like God, so he gathered a third of the angels and rebelled against God. However, God was very angry about Lucifer's rebellion. He knew that Lucifer was only motivated by pride and arrogance, so God cast Lucifer and his followers out of heaven. Lucifer's name was changed to Satan, which means adversary, and his followers became known as demons. Now, some people might think that this story makes no sense. If Lucifer was an angel, why would he want to be like God? Angels are supposed to be selfless and devoted to God. And if Lucifer was created by God, why would he rebel against him? Well, let me tell you, rebelling against authority figures isn't anything new. In fact, it's something that humans have been doing since the dawn of time. Even God himself has had his fair share of rebellious children. For example, Lucifer wasn't the first heavenly being to rebel against God. In fact, there were others before him. In the book of Enoch, which is not part of the Bible, but in ancient Jewish text written around 300 BC, we learn of another angel who rebelled against God. His name was Azazel, and he taught humans how to make weapons, swords, shields, and breastplates. Azazel was eventually bound by the archangel Uriel and cast down to earth, where he became the leader of the fallen angels. Azazel's story is similar to that of Satan in that both angels fell from grace because of their desire for power. However, Azazel's story is even more extreme. He didn't simply rebel against God because he wanted to be like him. He taught humans how to make weapons so they could fight against God. Azazel wanted to overthrow God and take his place. This story shows us that Satan wasn't the only angel who wanted to be like God. There were others before him who desired power and glory for themselves. This raises the question, why did these angels want to be like God so badly? And what does it mean to be like God? Being like God isn't just about having power and glory. It's about having the ability to do good and help others. It's about being selfless and putting the needs of others before your own. If we look at the story of Lucifer again, we can see that he wasn't simply motivated by a desire for power, but also by a desire to help his people. In Isaiah 14, we read that Lucifer was once the anointed guardian of Eden, which means he was responsible for protecting the Garden of Eden and keeping it free from evil. However, He allowed a serpent to enter the garden and deceive Eve into eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge. This shows us that Lucifer wasn't always evil. In fact, he was once a being of light who brought wisdom and knowledge to humans. But when he allowed the serpent into the garden, he began to turn away from God and towards darkness. This story raises the question, why did Lucifer allow the serpent to enter the garden? Was he simply tricked by the serpent, or did he know what he was doing? If Lucifer really didn't know any better, then it shows us that he wasn't perfect after all. Angels can be deceived and corrupted just like humans. If Lucifer did know what he was doing, then it shows us that he was willing to disobey God in order to help humans. In this case, Lucifer wasn't motivated by pride or arrogance, but by compassion and empathy. Some people might argue that Lucifer didn't really care about humans at all. He simply wanted to be like God, so he could have all the power and glory for himself. However, this interpretation doesn't take into account the fact that Lucifer was once the anointed guardian of Eden. If Lucifer didn't care about humans, then why would he have been chosen to protect the garden in the first place? The story of Lucifer's fall from heaven is a complex one with many possible interpretations. We can't know for sure what happened in heaven or why Lucifer rebelled against God, but we can learn from the story nonetheless. Lucifer's fall teaches us that no matter how powerful or glorious we are, we should never forget our roots. We should always remember who we are and what we were created for. Lucifer was once a being of light who brought wisdom and knowledge to humans. But when he forgot his roots and allowed himself to be consumed by darkness, he fell from grace. Another lesson we can learn from Lucifer's story is that even angels can be corrupted by power. We often think of angels as perfect beings who are immune to temptation. But this isn't always the case. Angels can be corrupted just like humans. And the more power they have, the more dangerous they become. Finally, Lucifer's story teaches us that we should never give up hope. No matter how far we fall or how much we struggle, God is always willing to forgive us and give us another chance. And that's all for today. What do you think about Lucifer's story? Why do you think he rebelled against God? And what lessons can we learn from his story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. With that said, until next time, stay curious and keep learning.